What's up, witches? I'm here for another unboxing. You know me. I'm Luna. Who are you? This week, not just today, but this week, we are going into a territory, and it is the itching territory. It is Yi Jing territory. Because I have, I think I'm almost one beyond several into many Yi Jing tools here. So I'm going to start today with two of them, and then I have some other ones that will get their own video. But I'm going to start with this. This was given to me by an old boyfriend that I was dating in the late 80s, and it was like the first divination tool that someone bought for me. And you know what? That's a lie. That is a rank lie. First divination tool somebody bought for me was Kreskin's ESP game when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So that's where it started. But this, in the 80s, as an adult, I think it might have been after I stole my first tarot deck from my now late brother-in-law. At any rate, this boyfriend bought me this book, The Yi Jing, or Book of Changes. And it is by Wilhelm/Baines. And this is a fascinating book because of how it was done. The Richard Wilhelm translation rendered into English by Carrie F. Baines, forward by Carl Jung. So talking about the Yi Jing as a divination system. This was copyright 1950. So, yeah, been out a while. But what I remember reading the beginning of this, and I was very impressed because they said what they did was they translated out of Chinese and into, I believe, German was the first language. And then they had someone else translate it back from German into Chinese to try to see, you know, if they had lost anything in the translation. So it's a very good translation. The Yi Jing is a divination system from China, if you haven't figured that out yet. Let me try to find a little introduction. I might go to another place for the introduction. All right. It consists of lines, hexagrams. All right. I'm not going to go into the history of it. It's Chinese. And you build hexagrams. So a hexagram is a figure of 6 lines. And you have 2 different kinds of lines. You have solid lines and you have broken lines. The solid lines are yang, the broken lines are yin. And you use a couple of methods to build up these lines. So now I'm going to go to this kit. All the tools you need to work with the Oracle of Change. Contains instruction book, yarrow sticks, coins, notepad, pencil, and hexagram charts. I'm going to show you the back of this book because what you have here is a chart of trigrams. So if you're dealing with 2 sets of 3 lines and you get, you know, a broken line and a solid line to choose from, then you have 8 possible trigrams between broken and solid. So here represents the lower trigram, here represents the upper trigram, and then you look at where they intersect and it will tell you which of the hexagrams you are going to read. So I'm going to set that one aside and let's get back into here. Stephen Karcher, PhD. All the tools you need to work with the Oracle of Change. So Yi Jing is the Book of Changes, is what that means. Everything you need to decipher the messages of the Yi Jing Oracle. The ancient Chinese Oracle, the Yi Jing, is the world's oldest and most profound system of divination. It helps you work with the changes in your life. Its images and practical advice let you participate in a change instead of being its victim. It acts like a wise old friend or helping spirit. The Yi Jing kit has everything you need to decipher the messages of the 3,000-year-old oracle. Complete with the easy-to-understand book, How to Use the Yi Jing, you'll be using the Chinese coins and yarrow sticks to divine your future almost immediately. Follow the simple instructions to make a consultation and use the information to make clearer, more informed decisions, plan effective strategies to deal with problems, recognize and resolve anxieties, fears, and desires, develop your intuition, and discover hidden abilities. Stephen Karcher, PhD, has researched the I Ching for over 25 years and collaborated with Rudolf Ritzema to produce the first definitive translation. He's also the author of The Elements of I Ching, the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Divination, and a number of other books. He holds a doctorate in comparative literature and psychology. The I Ching kit contains 3 Chinese coins, 50 yarrow sticks, how to use the I Ching, hexagram chart, notepad, and pencil. So, and I do believe... I don't think this was a Five Below purchase. I think this was a, I got to open the window, it's getting warm. I think I got this at a bookstore on a clearance shelf. So let's set that over there. Now, 2 ways to come up with the thing that you're going to read. So they give you this nice little pad here, and they give you this nice little pencil that I have not sharpened, so we won't be using that. And we've got coins, and we've got yarrow sticks. I'm sure they're bamboo. So the easiest way to do this is to throw 3 coins. And the coins, the sides of the coins, are also yin and yang. These are the yang with the 4 characters, and that is a yin coin. The yang are worth 3, yin is worth 2. So there are 4 different numbers that can come out of tossing these coins. You toss them all. You can either get 3 yins, and that's 6. So an even number is yin, an odd number is yang, because an odd number, yin is settled and calm, and an even number is symmetrical, settled. Yang is odd number, it needs to be resolved one way or the other. So you can get 3 yins, which is a 6, and that is a broken line. So yins are broken lines, and if you get 3 of the same, like all 3 yins for a 6, then you get a strong broken line. So you put a little X in it like that. So you would draw, you start at the bottom, and you would draw a broken line with an X. Then you could get 2 yins and a yang, which would be, or let's go 2 yangs and a yin. So 2 yangs and a yin would be 6, and then 2 is 8. So you would have a broken line without an X, because it's not, when you get 3 of a kind, you get a strong line. Okay. Then you could possibly get 3 yangs, which would be 9, and that would be a strong line as well, and you would draw that with a little circle on it. And then you could also get 2 yins and a yang. The 2 yins would be 4, plus 3 is 7, so that's also a yang line because it's odd, but you don't put the little circle on it. And what happens with these, and then you keep doing it until you have 6 lines, and you start from the bottom and you build to the top. And what happens, then you get the hexagram, you read that, but then the lines that are strong, so where you got 3 of a kind, either 3 yins or 3 yangs, those lines change into their opposites. So this is why it's the book of changes, because everything changes. All right. So I'm going to show you now the yarrow stick thing, and just a very quick demonstration, because we will not be doing the yarrow stick thing. All right. Okay, so coin method, and I just now noticed this. Oh, looky, the key to the hexagrams. That's nice. Okay, coin method, old yang. So if you get 3 yangs, that's called old yang, and it transforms into young yang. Oh, yes, transforms into a yin. Something's wrong here, because wow, yeah, that doesn't make sense at all, because yin is a broken line. All right, whatever. So the yarrow stock method, that's what I wanted to show you here. So you have 50, 50 of these. Here's what you do. You take one of these and set it aside. That's the observer. Then you take 2 bunches. You just divide them into 2 random piles. All right. Take a stick from the pile on your left. Place it between the 4th and 5th fingers of your left hand. And then you count out the pile on your right into groups of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a group of 4, and there's a group of 4. So what you're looking for is remainders here. And after I get them all in piles of 4, then I have 1 pile of 4 left. Use your left hand to pick up the sticks and your right hand to count them out. Count all the sticks out until you have a remainder of 4, 3, 2, or 1. You must have a remainder. Put this remainder between the 3rd and 4th fingers of your left hand. Pick up the pile you have on your left, that's this one, and count them into groups of 4 as before. So count them out with your right. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, and there's a pile. Wait, that's the observer. I can't get him. And then we still have 4 left over here. Count them out, placing the remainder between the 2nd and 3rd fingers of your left hand. Take all the sticks which you've put between your fingers and set them aside. They are left out for this round. Make 1 bunch of the sticks that remain and repeat the procedure again. Okay, make 1 bunch of all the sticks that remain except for that observer one. All right. And repeat the procedure. Again, lay the sticks you've put between your fingers aside at the end of the process. Repeat this process a 3rd time. This time, count the number of groups of 4 you have placed in front of you. This number should either be 6, 7, 8, or 9. It indicates the first or the bottom line of your hexagram. So you've got to go through this rigmarole 3 times for each line. So to get the hexagram, you're going to go through that process of sticking things between your fingers and then taking them out and setting them aside 18 times. So we are not doing the yarrow sticks. And I did read something that said that this makes it a much more subtle operation rather than just the coins, because the coins are either or. It's either yin or yang, and this gives you a lot more subtle choices. But whoo baby, what a pain in the ass. I am going to keep this chart out though. So you see here there's the lower trigrams and the upper trigrams. So let's do, I'm going to use this to throw my coins in so they don't go running off. Let's ask let me ask about Trump. Let's ask about this man and what's going on in him. All right, there's one. Please give me an insight into the mind of Donald Trump and what he is likely to do when he loses this election. Okay, we got 3 yangs there. So that's a 9. So you have a strong line that will change. So you put the little circle on it. Next one. Yang, yang, yin. So we have 6, 7, 8. That's a yin line, and it's not going to change. And then we have 2, 4, 7, another strong line. So we have solid broken solid on the bottom, which will give us radiance is the name of that. Let's get the other 3 lines here. Yin, yin, yang, so 2, 4, 7. 2, 4, 7. It's still a process. And we have yin, yin, yin. So we've got the broken line, and we put the X in the middle to indicate that that line will change. All right. Now I can get this out of the way and bring the books back. So we have radiance on the bottom, and at the top we have solid, solid, broken. That is open. So radiance and open come together, and this is number 49 is the hexagram that we get. And I'm going to look it up in this book first. Okay. Skinning, this says. Renew, molt, change radically, strip away the old, revolution, revolt. Okay. And this doesn't give the Chinese names of things. Skin/revolution. Take off the skin, molting, radical change, renew, revolt, overthrow, skin, leather armor, soldiers, eliminate, repeal, cut off, cut away. The ideogram portrays an animal skin stretched on a frame. So it's saying that that's what it's illustrating. Sorry, I opened the window. Now the pollen's getting me. Image. Skinning on your own day, there will be a connection to the spirits. Fundamental success, advantageous divination, repenting disappears. Honestly, this is the time when the snake sheds its skin, when radical change renews things. Strip away the old. Eliminate what has become useless so the new can be seen. Overthrow what is corrupt or decadent. So what did I ask specifically? I said, what's going on in his mind? Overthrow. On your own day, when the time is right, you will have a connection to the spirits. Act with confidence. This can inaugurate a whole new time. Success is guaranteed. It brings profit and insight. Reject old quarrels and memories. Present yourself in an entirely new way. Your doubts and sorrows will vanish. This is the time when heaven and earth renew themselves and great people carry out heaven's mandates. Yield and serve this great time. So, I mean, I specifically asked what's going on in his head. What is he thinking? What's he thinking? He's going to present himself in a new way, and all his sorrows are going to be gone, and it's going to be, he's overthrowing, he's draining the swamp. It's going to be a revolution. What was the other word that really stuck out? Oh, yeah, the overthrow. Reject old quarrels and memories. Success is guaranteed. See, he thinks it's guaranteed. All right. Changing inward awareness skins away obsolete forms to reveal a stimulating new potential. Renewal through skinning contains the hidden possibility of a coupling of the two primal powers. The Tao of the Well does not allow you not to skin or renew things. Accepting this lets you use skinning. So this is just a thing about renewal. Now, you see here we've got the yang line with the circle and the yin line with the X. These are lines that are going to change into their opposite. So first line, transforming lines, the initial 9, it is tightly secured in a yellow cow's skin. You are tightly bound and cannot move yet. There is nothing you can do. Be open to the impulse when it comes. All right. So, nothing you can do. You cannot move yet. And the tightly bound thing makes me think about the fact that once he's out of office, he's into court and possibly prison. So there's that idea of I can't move, I can't leave. He is between the hardest rock and the hardest hard place ever. And then let's look at the top. So now we translate that line into yin, into its opposite. And then the next one up is yin that doesn't change. Then there's a yang. Then there's a yang, then there's a yang, and then this line at the top is going to change from yin to yang. So the one at the top, 6 above. And they'll go through it, initial 9, 6 at the second. So wherever you have a strong line appearing, it has a thing for that, and the only ones you read are the ones where you have a strong line. Okay. 6 above, the realizing person transforms like a leopard. Small people only skin their face. Chastising closes the way. If you reside in your place, divination, the way is open. When the time changes, the realizing person changes with it like a leopard, moving with grace, elegance, and power. But remember the thing about a leopard doesn't change its spots? Ordinary people simply change their face. Do not discipline people or set out on an expedition. If you remain where you are while you undergo this change, the way will be open. You will gather others around you. Yikes. I mean, that sounds to me like if we just stay in the White House, they'll have to let us stay. But I don't think that's true. You will gather others around you is the absolute truth, because the Secret Service will be coming for him, for sure. Okay. Now, let's look at what this hexagram changes into. So we get bound and force. And that is the number 33 or 35. Thank you so much for putting red on black to make it truly difficult to read. All right, 33. Yes, this is the one we want. Retiring. Withdraw, conceal yourself, retreat, pull back in order to advance later. Oh my God. Retire, tun, withdraw, run away, escape, flee, hide yourself, disappear, withdraw into obscurity, become invisible, secluded, antisocial, fool or trick someone. The ideogram portrays a pig, a sign of wealth and good fortune, and the sign for walk away. It suggests satisfaction, luck, and wealth through withdrawing. Okay, retiring, success, advantageous divination for the small. This is a time to hide yourself. So what happens after he just kind of sits tight and hangs in there and waits for things to come to him and waits to overthrow that he's going to overthrow? This is a time to hide yourself, to withdraw from contacts and stay concealed. Acting in a small way will bring you success, so do not insist on your own ideas or try to have your way. Do not get emotionally entangled. In seclusion, you can prepare for a better time. You cannot stay where you are. Retire and be coupled with heaven. Decline involvements, refuse connections, keep people at a distance, not through hate, but through a demanding integrity that inspires awe. Well, we know that's not going to happen. Be adaptable, immerse yourself in this situation, and endure. Knowing when to retire is a very great thing. Indeed it is. All right, now I'm going to look up in this too. So we had retiring, and what was the other one? We had open and radiance. Okay, 49 and 33. So let's see what this book has to say. This book is, I think, closer to the vibe of the original language. And the one thing that you run into with this, and I do remember when I got it, and the first hexagram I threw was just so right on the money, it wasn't even funny. So it is a true divination tool, but it's very old. So you're going to find some ideas here that don't translate too well into now. They translated even back in the 80s when I got this, but now my mind has changed so much just in terms of feminism and equality and gender identity and everything else. So a lot of things don't really fit. They're very rigid as far as society roles and gender roles and things like that. Okay. Molting. So this one called it skinning. This they call molting, and it's revolution, molting. So the first one, revolution. On your own day you are believed. Supreme success, furthering through perseverance, remorse disappears. And you will hear that often. It furthers one to blah blah blah, or perseverance furthers. They use the same phrases over and over again. Political revolutions are extremely grave matters. They should be undertaken only under stress of direct necessity when there is no other way out. Not everyone is called to this task, but only the man who has the confidence of the people, and even he only when the time is ripe. He must then proceed in the right way so that he gladdens the people, and by enlightening them prevents excesses. Furthermore, he must be quite free of selfish aims, and must really relieve the need of the people. Only then does he have nothing to regret. So that ain't never going to happen, so he's going to have shit tons of regrets. Times change, and with them their demands. Thus the seasons change in the course of the year. In the world cycle also there is spring and autumn in the life of peoples and nations, and these call for social transformations. We are certainly in an autumn or even a winter here. Okay, the image, fire in the lake. So above is the lake, below is fire. And the lake they call the joyous, fire they call clinging. So it's very interesting images here. Fire in the lake, the image of revolution. Thus the superior man sets the calendar in order and makes the seasons clear. Fire below and the lake above combat and destroy each other. So too in the course of the year a combat takes place between the forces of light and the forces of darkness, eventuating in the revolution of the seasons. Man masters these changes in nature by noting their regularity and marking off the passage of time accordingly. In this way, order and clarity appear in the apparently chaotic changes of the seasons, and man is able to adjust himself in advance to the demands of the different times. Now, the lines. 9 at the beginning. Wrapped in the hide of a yellow cow, changes ought to be undertaken only when there is nothing else to be done. Therefore, at first, the utmost restraint is necessary. One must become firm in one's mind, control oneself. Yellow is the color of the mean, and the cow is the symbol of docility. And refrain from doing anything for the time being, because any premature offense will bring evil results. So this is the rock and a hard place. He's got to sit tight, and he's not too good at that. Then we have 9 at the top, or 6 at the top, sorry. That was 9 in the beginning. 6 at the top. The superior man changes like a panther. The inferior man molts in the face. Starting brings misfortune. To remain persevering brings good fortune. So changes like a panther. So, I mean, they don't change their spot, whatever. After the large and fundamental problems are settled, certain minor reforms and elaborations of these are necessary. These detailed reforms may be likened to the equally distinct but relatively small marks of the panther's coat. As a consequence, a change also takes place among the inferior people. In conformity with the new order, they likewise molt. This molting, it is true, does not go very deep, but that is not to be expected. We must be satisfied with the attainable. If we should go too far and try to achieve too much, it would lead to unrest and misfortune. For the object of a great revolution is the attainment of clarified, secure conditions, ensuring a general stabilization on the basis of what is possible at the moment. All right. This one was definitely a little bit more to the point with that, but let's go look at 33 now. And this has changed into Tun, retreat, which is the creative heaven above, 3 strong lines, and keeping still the mountain below. The power of the dark is ascending. The light retreats to security so that the dark cannot encroach upon it. This retreat is a matter not of man's will, but of natural law. Therefore, in this case, withdrawal is proper. It is the correct way to behave in order not to exhaust one's forces. In the calendar, this hexagram is linked with the 6th month, July and August, in which the forces of winter are already showing their influence. Well, July and August, not when I'm thinking about the influences of winter, really. Okay, judgment, retreat, success. In what is small, perseverance furthers. Conditions are such that the hostile forces favored by the time are advancing. In this case, retreat is the right course, and it's through retreat that success is achieved. But success consists in being able to carry out the retreat correctly. Retreat is not to be confused with flight. Flight means saving oneself under any circumstances, whereas retreat is a sign of strength. Now, see, the other book was talking about run, run, run away, hide. Run and hide yourself away. We must be careful not to miss the right moment while we are in full possession of power and position. Then we shall be able to interpret the signs of the time before it is too late and prepare for provisional retreat instead of being drawn into a desperate life and death struggle. I think this one's going the life and death struggle way. Thus, we do not simply abandon the field to the opponent. We make it difficult for him to advance by showing perseverance in single acts of resistance. In this way, we prepare while retreating for the counter movement. Understanding the laws of a constructive retreat of this sort is not easy. The meaning that lies hidden in such a time is important. The image is mountain under heaven, the image of retreat. Thus, the superior man keeps the inferior man at a distance, not angrily, but with reserve. The mountain rises up under heaven, but owing to its nature, it finally comes to a stop. Heaven, on the other hand, retreats upward before it into the distance and remains out of reach. This symbolizes the behavior of the superior man toward a climbing inferior. He retreats into his own thoughts as the inferior man comes forward. He does not hate him, for hatred is a form of subjective involvement by which we are bound to the hated object. The superior man shows strength, heaven, in that he brings the inferior man to a standstill by his dignified reserve. Okay. Well, boiling that down, because, you know, that kind of language, you really have to sort of reach in and just pick out and see what jives. This book actually, I think, nailed it a little bit more in a more understandable way, as far as overthrow and being kind of stuck and unable to move, and then it's time to run away and hide. So we're going to go with that. So there's the I Ching, and I'm not going to go through all the the hexagrams, because it's just a lot. But and you'll see this in coming days, because I have decks. I have I Ching decks to go through, and so we'll look at those, and you'll get a little more of an idea of what each of the hexagrams is. But we have things like standstill, peace, treading, the taming power of the small, holding together, the army, conflict. I remember the first thing I did was I threw a hexagram, and it changed, had lines that changed, so I came up with this, all strong lines. The creative was my first reading. Creative, the receptive, difficulty at the beginning. So we have, all strong lines, and then the second one is all yin lines, and then the yin lines slowly change into their opposites, and they kind of start moving up the ladder. It's all very complex. All very complex. So I hope that gave you the smallest little window. I mean, what this did for me was really open up the idea of divination and how it works. And it blew my mind, the very first hexagram that I threw. And then I also remember I was in a baby coven at the time, and there was somebody who was very neurotic and very talented and very psychic, and she was being manipulative. And there was this big to-do of, we're throwing her out of the coven. And when they told me that, I went, okay, fine, I'm done, because I wasn't into drama. I was there to learn about the craft. And so we had a meeting of the coven to get together and talk about what was happening. And I brought the I Ching, and it just really spelled it all out. It talked about not being malicious or mean, and doing what we need to do it, but do it with compassion and do it with love and everything else. And I know everybody was blown away by that reading, because it was really right on the money. So it was an impressive introduction to divination outside of, tarot and the Ouija board, which was like the only thing I really knew about, and Magic 8-Ball and stuff. So I hope that rang your bell. And if it did, get yourself a set and start working with it. I have, I think, 3 more to present to you. So this is certainly going to be itching week. And I will try to keep it entertaining for you. Click down below if you would like to join my Patreon, or if you would like to just send me a donation, or even send me a deck from my wish list, because if you do, I'll read for you on this video. Well, not this video, but on the one where I open up the deck. All right, I'm really glad you're here. I will be here tomorrow for another unboxing of an I Ching deck. And I will be here on Wednesday for a live stream. Until then, please stay safe and wash your hands and wear your mask, and I'll see you tomorrow. Blessed be.